You guys probably know the drill by now, so I won't waste your time with a long intro. New month equals new update. Let's get started. The biggest addition coming to the game this month are Submarines and the Underwater Labs. Let's talk about Submarines first. Submarines can be obtained at fishing villages and come in two sizes, solo and duo, and just as the names of these sizes imply, they can fit 1 or 2 people respectively. The solo variant can be purchased for 200 scrap, and the duo variant can be purchased for 300 at fishing villages, and they both come with 50 fuel. Here are the two submarines side by side. The differences between them apart from capacity is that the duo version is a bit slower, has 700 health instead of 500, has the fuel storage tank inside, and has a radar that shows nearby submarines in green and labs in red. Both of the submarines also have a torpedo bay that can hold up to 100 of one type of torpedo at a time. There are two kinds of torpedoes, direct and surface torpedoes. Direct torpedoes go in a straight line underwater, and surface torpedoes rise to the surface while going in a straight line, making them good against boats. Both torpedoes are tier 2 blueprints and can be crafted for 1 metal pipe and 30 gunpowder in batches of 3 at tier 2 workbenches. Destroying either type of submarine takes 2 hits with a torpedo, and keep in mind that if your submarine is destroyed, you also die. Both submarines, just like rowboats, decay in 3 hours if left outside and can be permanently kept inside. Now let's move on to the new underwater labs. There are quite a few of them scattered around the map, and all are marked on the map just like the oil rigs. To see how big a specific underwater lab is, all you need to do is cycle through the levels on the right of the map, but more on this map feature later. On some floors you'll see submarine icons, which marks the location of moon pools where you can dock your submarine and enter the lab. Underwater labs are populated by hostile NPCs similar to the tunnel dwellers, so you'll need to bring a weapon and some ammo to get rid of them. They are procedurally generated, and as such I can't say too much for certain about their layouts, but they seem to have many dead ends and the amount of hostile NPCs seems low. There are a few kinds of preset room types, including storage rooms with a computer station and green keycard, cafeterias with a poker table, chippy machine and food crates, admin rooms with red keycards and mid-tier loot which need blue keycards to get inside, storage rooms with meds and food which need a fuse to get inside, an infirmary with supplies which requires a blue keycard to get inside, a small CCTV room with some supplies which needs a green keycard, generator rooms which need a fuse and green keycard to get into and have fuel and supplies inside, the captain's quarters which have some supplies and red keycard and require a blue keycard to get inside, living quarters which require a green keycard and have some supplies inside, and experiment rooms which require 2 fuses, a blue keycard and a red keycard to get into and contain the best loot including some elite crates. In terms of loot, the underwater labs contain many kinds of new loot containers, including these small boxes, these large boxes, food, fuel, ammo, component, and medical stashes, and old loot containers including toolboxes, food crates, fuel barrels, and elite crates. The labs also have some CCTV cameras scattered around which can be accessed from the previously mentioned locker rooms or CCTV rooms, and once you have the identifiers of the cameras, you can also access them from any other computer station. When going to the labs, I recommend that you take some sort of lighting as visibility isn't too good down there, and you can also sit on any toilet to gain 100% comfort and help you regenerate. So overall, the labs seem to be a balanced way to get some loot as they only contain a medium amount of scrap but have a larger amount of items, with a few hostile NPCs only posing a moderate threat, with your main concern being not getting lost in this maze of a monument. And as you can see, the large variety of different modules offers an almost limitless amount of generated labs, meaning each lab you'll visit will be different. Sharks were added to the waters surrounding Rust Island and can be found when diving in deeper waters. They will attack players, dealing 20 damage if you're fully naked and a bit less if you're clothed. When attacking, they will only bite you once and head back to their original position before striking again. Fortunately for all submarine owners, they don't seem to attack submarines, so you don't really have to worry about them when going to an underwater lab unless you plan on getting out into the water. A new weapon for killing these sharks was also added, the spear gun. Spear guns are non-default tier 1 blueprints and can be crafted once learned for 75 metal fragments and 1 empty propane tank at a level 1 workbench. The armor for them is also a non-default tier 1 blueprint and can be crafted in batches of 3 for 50 metal fragments at a level 1 workbench as well. The spear gun can only be fired underwater and its stats are identical to that of the crossbow, meaning that its damage is 50, but a higher projectile drop. This means that you can kill sharks in a maximum of 3 hits, and just like arrows, spears can be recovered from the corpse of the shark. Along with all these things added to the Ocean of Rust, fishing was also introduced into the game. All you need to start fishing is a fishing rod and some bait. Fishing rods are a default blueprint and can be crafted without a workbench for 200 wood and 2 rope, or you can buy them at fishing villages for 80 scrap. Obtaining bait is also not too complicated, as many things can be used as bait, including all kinds of fish, animal and fish meat, grubs, worms, and plants. Different kinds of bait have different baiting efficiency, with large fish being the highest at 10, followed by animal meat at 5, followed by grubs, worms, and other fish with 3 or 4, and the worst type of bait being plants with a bait value of 1. Stemming from these different bait values, I would not recommend using small fish as bait, as they can be gutted to yield multiple fish meat, which has a bait value of 5 each. So now that you've got your fishing rod and bait, let's go fishing. To start fishing, all you need to do is hold right click with your fishing rod and left click when the bobber is blue. After casting your rod, you need to wait a bit until your bobber starts bobbing, and once it does, slowly start reeling it in with S. If the fish goes to either side, use either A or D to pull it back in the opposite direction, and watch out for your rod shaking, as if it is, then that means that you're pulling too hard and that the line is about to snap. When this happens, just let go for a bit until the shaking stops. By using these controls and gently pulling in the fish, you should be able to reel in whatever you've caught. And once you've reeled it in close enough, an animation will play and the thing you caught will be added to your inventory. Now that's great and all, but what can I get from fishing, you might be wondering? You can either catch fish or junk items with a small chance. The 2 factors affecting what kind of fish you'll catch are bait quality and the location where you're fishing, as some kinds of fish are exclusive to some places. Anchovy, herring, sardines, and salmon can be found anywhere. Catfish and yellow perch can exclusively be found in rivers. Small sharks and small trout can only be found in the ocean or moon pools at labs. And orange roughies can only be caught in moon pools at labs. Finally, let's take a look at what you can do with this fish. The first application is obvious, you can eat them. To do this, open your inventory, click on the fish and click on gut, which will yield you raw fish, some bone fragments, and some animal fat. The second thing you can do with them, as I previously stated, was use them as bait to catch better fish. And the final thing you can do is sell them at vending machines at the fishing villages. On screen now you can see the value of different kinds of fish at the vending machine, and you can also sell small trout at the bandit camp's produce exchange, but you shouldn't, as they're ripping you off by 1 scrap on each trout you sell. The tunnels were changed so that work carts no longer spawn at the 2 ends of stations, and instead spawn in 2 maintenance tunnels accessible from either platform by going through a door and walking down a corridor. The doors leading to these corridors have a green sign above them with the text maintenance room and are located around the center of stations. And despite how large this maintenance room is, it doesn't have any loot crates or tunnel dwellers. A few fancy buttons were added to the right side of your in-game map, which you can use to cycle between the different layers. The layers you can view are the regular map, a map of the tunnels, and maps of different levels of the underwater labs ranging from 1 to 4. And there's also a lock icon which you can use to toggle the map being locked to show the current layer you're on. Finally, here are some other changes that happened this month. Small signs can now be placed almost anywhere there's a flat surface on deployables. Crates underwater now take 6 seconds to untie instead of 8. You can now left click on a wire connection to isolate it and see where that specific wire is going. The fog effects at swamps was changed to match the bandit camp so that they don't glow at night. A new map called Gravis Island was accepted as an official map and will be hosted on a few official servers. A copy button was added to phones, and pasting phone numbers into the dial menu will instantly call them, and a few new radio stations were added to boomboxes. As for Twitch drops, there aren't any coming this month, with them now being changed to a bi-monthly schedule, meaning that the next drops we'll get will be coming in September. With that being said, I've been Meemish, and if this video helped you, consider leaving a like and subscribing. You can support me by becoming a patron or a member of the channel, and if you have any questions, you can join my Discord server and ask away. Special thanks to Bothered Nickel, Arson String, Raven the Messenger, and Raz Van Volk for supporting me, and have a good wipe everyone.